Good evening, everyone. You are welcome to today's session. Yes. How have you guys been so far? All right, quick one. So let's have someone to quickly summarize what we taught in our last class. Blessing. Just quickly go ahead to just summarize what we did in our last class, what you understood in our last class, before we go ahead to what we are for today.
In developing the web.
Sorry, can you start the gameplay? Sorry.
Okay. I heard the last class we talked about web development essentials.
All right.
And there we discussed about like the course structure where you mentioned
Yeah, Blessing, are you still there?
okay, you illustrate build a landing page.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Blessing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. I said last class we talked about web development essentials and you illustrated how we could use Claude to build and then develop um a landing page from ideation to deployment using either Vercel or Netlify. And we talked about in regarding the structure, we talked about the web development ecosystem, the tools
Okay.
front-end developers use, back-end developer use, and um, the servers that could be used as well to store your to store the database basically. So we talked about Superbase, Firebase, Prisma, Neon, and Plug for authentication. For front-end development, you emphasized on seeking to React, and then Next.js. For backend, you talked about using Express, Node, Django, Laravel, which is a framework for PHP. Yeah, and then you illustrated how to use Lovable,
Oh,
and then showed applications you've made using Lovable. Yeah, I guess that was what we did in a nutshell.
all right. Thank you very much for that detailed information. Um, so yeah, that was pretty much what we did in our last lesson. I hope you guys understood it. I told you how basic developers just go to Claude, they tell them to go ahead to just create a landing page. Is as simple as ABC, and they create an HTML file for them. And after the HTML file is created, then obviously they can just go ahead to download that file and deploy it Vercel. And yeah, we also talked mostly we were based off where we talked about web development essentials. We talked about different tools and different stacks that a modern day web developer uses, especially for those that integrate with AI. And this is where we dived into, as Blessing mentioned, talked about Next.js, React. I told you why Next.js is actually the best compared to others. And we also talked about the backend. We've also talked about backend services that you can use to fastly prototype and build websites, right? We talked about Superbase, we talked about Firebase, we talked about Prisma, Neon, Clerk. These are like backend services that you can actually use. You can just use as a plug and play service to quickly accelerate and develop and scale with ease, right? A detailed example would be Clerk, right? Clerk, you don't need to start worrying about submitting your credentials to Google. You don't need to worry about, oh, how am I supposed to deploy this Google authentication, or how am I supposed to link it together with my email and all of that. Clerk does everything for you. email integration, 2FA, everything is done with ease. So you don't even need to stress yourself when you are using Click, right? And those are like some of the bucket and the service that we're going to use when we are rapidly building stuff. So today it would be basically hands-on practice. We would not really focus on slides. We would focus on implementing this one by one, right? So today we're going to talk about GitHub collaboration workflow, right? And this is very essential because Git and GitHub is something that you would be working with majorly as a developer. Has anyone used Git and GitHub here before? If you have, just give a thumbs up. You've used Git, you've used GitHub, just give a thumbs up if you have. Okay, okay, very good, very good, very good. So quickly, I want us to, you know what? I want us to quickly, let me just drop my profile in the chat so that I can see you guys' profile. I know we are just few here. So since we are few, would go time to go through our profile itself and see. Let me just go ahead to check you guys' accounts. I'm going to send you my I'm gonna send you my link right now. Just go ahead to follow me on GitHub, and I want to check you guys' profile and see how you guys have been using GitHub so far, right? So let me just go ahead to drop the link for you guys. So dropped on the group. You guys can go ahead to just give a follow and let me go through your profile one by one, right? And you know what? Blessing, how many years have you been using Git and GitHub for now? Let me just try to follow up along with the chat. Also, Lazarus, how long have you been using GitHub? I know you said you have been using GitHub for quite a while. So how long have you been using GitHub for? Same thing as Ifeanyi, Mohammed, you're welcome. How long have you guys been using GitHub? Once you've dropped a follow us, give a thumbs up so that I can move on with the next. For about 2 years, but not consistent. Okay. Somebody said 2 years, but not consistent. Okay. We have for about a year for Great Life Lazarus. Very good. So I'm pretty much sure that you guys will be familiar with the Git add, Git status. I would just really glance through it, but obviously I'm pretty much sure you guys know how to do all of this. And trust me, I would not be wasting much of your time right here. We'll just look at the basics and we are going to be good to go. All right. So if you are giving me a follow, just give a thumbs up so that I can know that you guys are active with me. All right, let me check the followers. I can see Blessing. Blessing, is this you? Okay, very good. Yeah, I can see. Oh, Blessing has been using GitHub for quite a while since 2020, but you have not been really active on GitHub. All right, very good, very good, very good. I can see some of the project right here also. Top repositories, nice, nice, nice. Very good. So one of the major things I would like to tell you guys is whenever you have a GitHub profile, it's really advisable for you to just go ahead to talk more about what you do as a developer, right? So people can just know a little bit more about you. All right. I love the fact that she attached a website right here, and we'll go ahead to check that at LinkedIn and Medium, which is really nice. Blessing, your website is not going. Something you should look into, right? But yeah, good one on that end. Just try to add a detailed readme on your profile, and I'll teach you how to do that, right? In fact, even let me go ahead to recommend a video for you guys that will really help you. So if you want to really, really customize your profile, you can watch this video that I'm going to send to the group right now. And I'm also going to paste it in the chat, right? Let me just go ahead to send this to you guys right here, so you're going to see that. Coming, okay. Okay, I just copied the link and I pasted it right now in the WhatsApp group. So if you want to know how to customize a GitHub profile, um, how to take it from how it's looking right now, because normally you just have responsive websites, and if you want to take it to look like very more responsible, please, as you have seen the link on the group chat, kindly go ahead to give a thumbs up I am also going to attach the link to the video after recording, so you guys can also click along if you are watching the recording. All right. And also, you can also find the link also in this chat in case you are finding difficulty to access the group. Everything is right there. All right. So you can go ahead to watch the video. It's going to take you and teach you how to customize your GitHub profile. And I think it's only Blessing that followed me. So we'll just move on with the class. Or do you have any other new follower? Let me see. Let's just go back to my profile. All right, we have one more. So let's just go ahead to review that together. See, I'm giving you guys free GitHub profile review, right? Okay, we have Great Life. So Great Life, well done again. I can see you opened 2014, but you have not really been active. And trust me, these are some things that um recruiters look out for. Not all recruiters, but there are some recruiters that actually go ahead to check a GitHub profile. Right, I have actually applied for a role before, and the person literally went through all my GitHub repo, and it was like, wow, you are really doing amazing work. He went through my repo, he saw my overview, he saw my stars, he saw my streak. Yeah, I mean, you guys know about GitHub streaks, right? Especially those that use Snapchat. I'm very sure you are some of us have you have seen friends that have like 1,000 streaks and all of that. Trust me, if you have a strong GitHub profile, you would be standing out, right? Also, you saw some of my pin profile, you saw the 32 stars, all of that, and it was really, really impressed. And trust me, I did not even stress myself in getting that job, right? So also GitHub profile really helps if you are trying to look for roles and also get like stand out amidst others. So Great Life also I would recommend you watch that video. Try to add a README to your GitHub so it tells about you, and try to attach some link. You add your Gmail here, which is really nice. But just try to attach some link that talks more about you and what you do, so that in case anybody wants to reach out, it will be very, very easy to reach out to you. All right. And again, well done again. I can see you have some projects going on right here. Very good. Also, all right. So do we have any other one before I move on? So we have just one. Okay, very good. So Blessing and Lazarus, I hope you guys got that. And yep, we are good to go. All right. So now let's talk about Git and GitHub, right? Like, why do we really need Git and GitHub? All right. First thing you need to know about is Git. And what is Git, right? So has anyone here ever saved a file and you just tend to call it like final version v2, something like that? Or you wrote your a document file and you're just saving it my final edit dot doc or something. All right. That's majorly one of the usefulness of Git and GitHub, right? That is what we are fixing today. And Git is how real developers save their work. And trust me when I say real developers, right? Almost 90% of developers out there use Git and GitHub, right? If not GitHub, they use Git, which is the version control. And I'll tell you about what Git and GitHub is. I know you guys already know about Git and GitHub, but we'll just try to flesh it up a little bit and move on from there. All right. So Git is how real developers just save their work locally. That's for Git. All right, because it's very, very important to know the difference. Why GitHub is how you save your work on the cloud base, right? So Git is remotely and GitHub is for the cloud base. And by the end of this session, I will show you different repositories that I've worked on that are actually on the cloud. And trust me, this project are something I've worked on before, and I've changed my laptop like 4 to 5 times, if not so. And this has really helped me because all my files that I worked on from my first laptop to my second laptop and all of that, I have everything stored in my GitHub, and that is where all my projects are being stored on the cloud, right? Git would really help you to track your file locally. You can see your history. It's just like as if you're having a normal ChatGPT sessions where you can see your history at the sidebar, right? For Git, it actually helps you to save your history in your local computer also. So once you go ahead to initialize your GitHub, I'm sure you guys already know much more about this. I'm just trying to flesh out and just try to rewind your brain. All right. So once you run Git init, Git add, Git status, and all of that, you should be able to start tracking your files locally, and you'll be able to see your history locally also. All right. And if you guys want to know how to set up Git on your local system, there's also a video that you can also watch. It's also called Git and GitHub, a complete beginner's guide. So if you guys want to understand Git and GitHub very well, and you want to know how to use it, how to set it up, I also shared a video to you guys on the group. You can go ahead to also watch that. All right. Um, all right. So with that being said, and remember I said Git basically tracks your changes on your computer, while GitHub is where your code lives online. So once you can have those simple basic terminologies, you are good to go, right? And just take a look at it as Git is the engine itself, while GitHub is the garage, right? So obviously, every session of a developer has GitHub, and it's where basically you store all your coding tools in your coding CV. Let me put it that way. So for example, you remember, like, if you want to um submit, if you want to apply for jobs, if though you'd have to attach, oh, I am this and that customer service representative, this and that, I have done this, or I have developed this website and stuff like that. But how can you show to people that you have done this, right? And that's where GitHub comes in. This is where you upload all your files. And obviously, this is GitHub. You upload all your files, and you can see 180 million plus developers. We have 4 million organizations and 420 million plus repository. All right. And you can actually go ahead to check out about GitHub, see how far they have gone. To be honest, most developers, if not all, uses GitHub, right? And why does this matters? Um, GitHub really matters because clients would really ask for it, especially when you're applying for jobs. They'll tell you, please attach your GitHub profile. They want to check it out. And trust me, if they go to your profile and they're not seeing much work done, like for example, they can't see like a significant progress. Like for me now, you can't tell me you come to my GitHub profile, and you will see that I've not made significant progress over the year. And I started using my GitHub profile 2022. I started coding in 2022 thereabout. That was when I started using GitHub itself. All right, and you will see that over the years, like 2025, I was really keen. I did 365 days without coding, and I'm still actually maintaining that progress, right? So once you are very serious with your GitHub and with your GitHub, trust me, it will be very easy for clients to literally hire you. Sometimes when people just say, "Are you a developer? Let's see your profile." I don't even need to send my resume. I just send my GitHub profile, and they look through it and they say, "Wow, let's let's get the party started." All right. So yeah, so you also see like it does like different stars and all of that. So GitHub is very important, especially if you want to work with clients and you want to show that you've actually done works. GitHub is a place where you can actually do all of that, and it's open source, right? It's open source. You can upload as many portfolio as many repo as you want to upload, and you need to start if you have not used it before, you need to start using it right now. All right, and first, I'm going to quickly run you through how you can. So, for example, if you want to work on a project and you saw like a GitHub repo, how you can clone that, and how you can use AI to summarize a particular GitHub repository that is not well structured. And that is what we're going to be doing today, right? Basically integrating AI and seeing how we can use it with a repository. All right. So I'm going to go into, I have some examples right here. Obviously, I've filtered through public already, and that's why you're seeing the query parameter type as public right here. All right. So I'm going to pick a project I worked on for a while right now. Let me see. I'm just going to go through this and see. You know what? Let me go through this docu chart. I think I created one I talked to you guys about. Yes. All right. So this is so we have someone that wants to join. Let me see. Let me admit so I don't keep anyone waiting. Okay, so this is a project I talked to you guys about before. Coming, let me just. Like I said, this is a project I worked in before. This is README, and okay, this actually has a detailed README, which is really nice. I think almost all of my profile, all of my repos have correct readmes, right? So let me just go ahead to look for one more. Let me see. I have one that I actually did a while ago. Just give me 1 second. I want to make sure I'm selecting the right one for you guys. Let me see. Admin dashboard. I did this 2022. Even though I did this 2022, I remember I wrote this manually. So we're going to go ahead to improve this with me right now. Obviously, I did this manually, but I would show you how you can now go ahead to like work with projects that are online. So for example, I want to work on this project, I'm going to click on copy, right? I'm very sure some of you guys will know how to clone a repository since you're developers right here. But I just want to show you how you can use the AI platform to try to understand the project very well and try to come up with a README. And if you want to build on top of that project, especially if you see a project online that you like and you want to build on that stack, right? This is where AI will be literally come in and help you very well. So for example, let's say I like this repository, I like this project, like let me just go ahead to preview it for you guys so you know what we're working with. So I built this 2022 back then when I was trying to strengthen my React portfolio skills. And this is just like a Shopee admin that was held by one of a YouTuber. If you guys know JavaScript Mastery, you would literally know he's a very popular guy on YouTube that talks about React. And back then in 2022 when I was learning my React, does anyone know JavaScript Mastery right here? If you know JavaScript Mastery, just give a thumbs up, else give a thumbs down. If you know JavaScript Mastery, anyone? Blessing, yes, yes, very good. Only Blessing knows JavaScript Mastery. Well, if you don't know JavaScript Mastery, this is his account right here on YouTube. You can go ahead to check it out. And to be honest, trust me, there's something that I don't do is gatekeep or tell you like I was able to do something right. So if you search for, um, let's search for React admin dashboard JavaScript Mastery, right? If you search for it, you will see that we have something like that right here. And you can see, I think this was the one I worked on. Was it this one? Maybe it was this one actually. Yes, exactly. This was the project I worked on. And you would actually see that it's mostly the same. And this was what I took when
Weeks on trying to.
let me just try to mute this. Actually, this was done within weeks and all of that, within days. So this was when I was learning JavaScript, right? And React itself in general. So you can go ahead to check out JavaScript Mastery. He has amazing courses that you would really, really help your React portfolio skills. But some of you guys don't have time right now for learning. Some of you just want to use AI and all of that. But yeah, I learned that back then, just for context. And this was when I was learning React, like I said earlier on, right? So it was really nice, but there was no like detailed documentation about all of these features that was created. But we'll see how we can use AI. So, but we'll see how we can use AI to quickly explain. So, for example, now if you want to work on this project, like for example, you saw this project online or you saw this repo online, and you want to work on, for example, this Kanban effect where you can drag and drop tabs, you can see. And oh my god, I literally spent days working on this back then. All right, so I will look at how we can use AI for all of that, right? You can see we have color picker, we have the editor where you can type and you can just say, for example, good evening, David. I can take this, I can take this and bold this, underline, and all of that, and everything works fine, right? So we'll just take a look at how we can use AI to summarize all we have in this project. Obviously, I did a readme back then, but it was not as detailed as it should be. Just the screenshots and I know I wrote this manually by myself, but we'll see how we can use AI to actually improve this. So let's go ahead to clone this repository. So if you want to clone a repository, obviously you know how to do that already. So I'm just going to go to my terminal. I'm going to open a new folder, a new workspace. We'll open a new window, file. Let's open a new file. So I'm gonna bring this right so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm gonna open my terminal right now. So my terminal right here, I'm just going to clear, and I'm going to cd to my documents, and I'm going to actually cd to my, let's say my website, right? So I'm going to actually go ahead to clone this repository right here. And to clone a repo, you know how to do that already. I mean, right? You use the word git clone. And for those of you that don't know about GitHub, the commands very well, the video I shared on the group, you can go ahead to watch that, or you can just go ahead to actually watch any other video you find on YouTube. But trust me, I also try to break down those process of explaining what Git and GitHub does for you. So you can actually go ahead to watch that video also. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead to clone this repository. And don't forget, why I'm actually showing you this is because you can find a project out there that you might want to reuse all of the logic that was there. You might want to reuse, you might want to generate a detailed README out of your project, right? You might want to have a detailed documentation of how the flow works, all right? And this is where you are going to be able to use AI to actually do all of that, because I already know you guys already know GitHub and Git before, right? So this is the usefulness of Git and GitHub. This is because you have all your code base stored somewhere. Somebody has already published it for you, or you publish your code base somewhere, and you can take that GitHub and try to extract meaningful information using AI. And that's what we're trying to do right here. All right, so I'm going to say git clone, and I'm going to paste my repo that I want to clone right here. All right, so we'll give it some minutes, and it's going to go ahead to clone those repository in. So it's done, and all I have to do now is to cd, and I go to admin dash dashboard, right? Admin dash dashboard, right? I'll clear and I'll say code dot. Obviously, code dot is how you open VS on on your on your code editor, right? All right, so you can see we have pretty much the same thing. If I try to preview this, you would see that, let me just preview, give it a minute. So you see that, just ignore my messages that pop. You see that we have pretty much the same thing as we did right here. All right. So Shopee admin dashboard, same readme. So we have this working now, right? So for example, if you clone a new repository, let me just zoom in very well so you guys will see this very well. Let me just reduce this also. If you clone a new repository, right, the first thing that you would want to do is to try to understand what is actually going on right here in this code base. Because trust me, back then, what you might really have time to do is you would just be like, okay, all I need to do is read through the README. In case the README does not even is not as descriptive enough, you shall know that what you need to do is clone. Obviously, this is the step right here. Make sure you have Node installed. We have Node installed already. By the way, if you don't have Node installed, just click on the link. It's going to take you to a website where you can install Node, right? So once you install Node and set it up, you'll be good to go, right? I'm pretty much sure. Is there anyone here that have not used Node before? Just give a thumbs up. Let me see. Or if you have used Node before, just give a thumbs up. Or you know about Node. Very good. I'm pretty much sure most of us know about Node. But if you do not, just go ahead to install it, and trust me, you'll be good to go. All right. So we already have Node installed, then we cloned it. This is the command I ran, and we cd into admin dashboard. And now let's install it. Now we are going to install. That's why it's always good to read with me, right? We just install the peer dependencies. By the way, if you don't know what dash dash legacy dash peer deps means, it means install the exact version of those libraries that I used for the project. All right. So if I go ahead to open my terminal right here, right? If I go ahead to open my terminal, I'm going to clear, and I do, let me say npm on dev. You see that we'll have an error. Why? Because we've not actually installed it, right? So to install it, we need to run what? Npm I dash dash legacy dash peer dash depths. And what this means is it's just saying install the peer dependencies, right? If you don't know what something means, you can just go ahead to copy, search online, or use those search what does means. right? It's very good to actually have an idea about what it does, it works, right? So you can see we have on Stack Overflow 5 years ago. That basically what it means is it's if you're already happy with it, sorry, but not fashioning by. So adding dash dash peer depth ignores the new requirement at risk of introducing breaking changes. So it's going to install the exact versions of everything that was used in that project. By the way, if you guys are not following me on Stack Overflow, you can also go ahead to follow me on Stack Overflow. I post amazing content right there. Answer questions. You can see I've reached over 17,000 people on Stack Overflow, and this is just a way you actually try to help the community, right? I know Stack Overflow has actually gone down over the years since the AI platform came in, and you can actually do everything. But back then, while we were still learning coding, you actually tried to you tried to solve everything one by yourself. And with Stack Overflow, I don't know if you guys were also passed through those phases, right? So yeah, let's just go ahead and install that. And while that is installing, if you want to know about, sorry, I need to zoom in because I just realized I'm working with you guys, so you guys will see very well. So if you guys just installed like a project and you want to try to know about what that project is, right? Now you can just open this your sidebar, right? If you're using VS Code, just come up right here and just click on the chat, right? Now, this is where you can actually use different AI tools. Now, listen to me very well. There are various amount of LLMs, like I talked to you guys about when we were explaining, when I was talking to you about the beginning, how LLM came about and all of that, right? There are different ways you can use LLMs in your code base. All right. All right, this is done. Let's just run quickly npm run dev so we see that it's working. Okay. Or let's do and let's look at the commands for starting actually so that we are following the code base, right? So it says after installing, just do npm start, sorry, npm start, and we should be good to go. So on our locals, if we visit starting development server, so I already have this open right here. I'm just going to drag and drop. I'm just going to go to localhost 3000. Let's see what we have right there. Why that is loading. All right. So while that is loading, it's saying starting development server. Let's just wait for it. So if you want to try to understand what's going on in your code base and try to see, okay, so we have this running in our locals. We already have that setup. Sweet. All right. So while we have that setup, let's just go ahead to look at the code base itself. All right. So if you clone a new repository and you want to try to understand how everything, obviously this is not really a big code base, right? But if you want to try to understand a code base that you just cloned, especially if you want to work with the stack, if you want to work with the context and all of that, you can just talk to AI, right? At the right side, just like as if you're talking to ChatGPT. So you can use different models. Right here, I have tons of model installed, right? I have AMP, I have Augment Code, I have Gemini Code Assistant, I also have Kilo Code, right? So if you want to install, for example, Gemini Code Assistant, right? All you need to do is, okay, no, I don't want to reload this right now. I'll do that later. But if you want to install, for example, Gemini Code Assistant, just come down to your extension right here and just search for Gemini code. You can see you have Gemini Code Assistant powered by Google, and you have over 3 million downloads. Always try to look at the downloads also so that you know what you are working with. All right, it's very, very important. Also, same thing as augment code and all of that. You can just search for example, kilo code. Yeah, kilo code. You can see AI coding platform. You have over 1 million downloads, right? If you don't know about kilo code or augment code, you can just search for them, kilo code. They talk more about how you can use their website to actually work with AI, integrating it in your VS Code. You can see AI for every project and all of that. And we're going to actually stick with one AI model. We're going to be switching around Claude, and we're going to switch around some Copilot models that VS Code provide to us also. So just make sure to you stay tuned for that. All right. So the first thing you would need to do is I'm going to actually I'm going to use Claude Code. And I'm going to use a new chart, right? Now, if you don't have Claude Code, you can go ahead and use VS Code. And VS Code is going to actually, it provides with you some other models also. You can see I have Claude IQ 4.5, I have Claude Opus 4.6 right here. You might not have these premium models, but I'm pretty much sure that you'll be able to see all these other models right here. Claude Sonnet, GPT 3.1 Pro, 4.1 and 4 and Grok Code Fast 1, right? So what you would want to do is just go ahead to talk to it like as if you are talking to your AI assistant. So you will see, you can just tell it, I have this code base. Can you explain to me what the structure is all about, right? I'm going to copy this, I'm going to send this, I'm going to pick um Claude Opus 4.6 and I'm going to send. I'm also going to go to Claude Code, right? I'm going to go ahead to send this also. Now, Claude Code actually requires paid plan. So um if you want to use Claude Code, please you have to make sure you have like paid plan is around $20 or something. But you can also ask for your company that you're working with and tell them that you need Claude Code access, that you would like them to subscribe for you or something like that, and you will be good to go. If not, I also have um a link that you can use to get like discounts off your purchase if you want to use Claude Code. If you also need that, you can also just ping me or just drop a comment. I'm going to also send it to you also. All right. Especially if you're a first time using Claude Code. All right, so let's just wait. So you see right here, Claude Code has given us that's gone through the project, and this is where you see the power of AI, right? You don't need to like stress yourself trying to think about should I go ahead to start reading my footage or JSX? Okay, how did they structure it? How did they put it inside the pages? What is this chart and all of that? All right, so you can see Claude Code actually triggered the agents and was able to read through the package.json. It read through the readme and it went through all the directory context in the admin dashboard. All right. And you can see right now, it's now telling us it's a Shopee admin dashboard, a React 17 admin panel built around Sync Fusion UI components styled with Tailwind CSS. All right. And trust me, I didn't even include this in my notes back then, right? I think I included Sync Fusion, but I was not really sure if I included a version and all of that. Oh yes, I actually included Sync Fusion in my README, but this README was written manually, like it was really, really hard for me back then. And I'm going to also improve this README also. So you will see the structure right now. It have index, React entry points, and it wraps the app context provider. And if I actually go there, you will see now that it has everything right here, obviously. Right. You see the context provider also. You can see how this is being set up. Let me just go ahead to open this in one place so that you guys can see what I'm doing. You can see the context provider. And we all know what context is in React. If you have not used context before in React, you can actually just prompt it to tell you about what context is. But context is just a way you try to manage um, your states, right? Globally, something like that, right? So we have someone who wants to join in. Let me see and go ahead to accept this person. Please, if you are following me, kindly go ahead to give a thumbs up so I can know you guys are with me. Give a thumbs up if you can hear me and you're following me very well. We're going to be ending the class very soon. So the next 15 minutes thereabouts, we're going to end the class. All right. Um, So, yeah, you can see we have global states defined. We have the reusable UIs, which is actually stored in the navbar, sidebar, footer, and theme settings. So, if we click on this place, you see that we'll be able to access all of the reusable components. All right. All right. So, guys, just give me 1 sec. I need to get some water. All right. Sorry, guys. I needed to get water. Yeah. So All right. So yeah, as I was saying, so we have Claude Code actually gives us um a detailed flow of how this project works. And let's look at what chat was able to give us. You can see this was what chat Opus 4.4 gave us using the React Copilot chat editor, right? So you can see this is a React, but it was not as detailed as Claude actually went. Though it gave us the tech stack, gave us the directory structures, which is really nice, and features and pages, also the state management and config files. So now, for example, if you wanted to reuse this, particular, like you want to like try to export all of the logic about what this project entails, all right, you can just, I'm going to use Claude Code mostly because I actually prefer using Claude Code, but actually you can use any AI tool or platform that you use. If you use anti-gravity also, that works fine, all right, but I just prefer Claude Code because it gives me that full information that I actually want. So I'm going to tell this, can you go ahead to provide me a Claude.mdx file that includes all about this project. And if you don't know what Claude.md files means, it actually is just a file that actually gives you all the memory about what your code base is all about. All right. And you say, I will just say, I want to use this for another project. For my setup. Someone is asking, Adeoye Mary, is this class recorded? Sure, it's recorded. And after 1 hour, 1 hour after this class, you get the recording on the group. So you can go ahead to rewatch it if you want to. So Adeoye, is it Adeoye Mary? Yes, Adeoye Mary. You are save and you'll be able to record this to watch it later on. All right. So you can see it's saying read index, read tailwind, read crankle, config, sidebar, e-commerce, everything. I was going to tell you, I will write a Claude.md project routing, capturing the stack, structure, conversions, and common patterns. So you can copy it another project as a starting template. And trust me, this is where you really see the usefulness of AI. And for example, if you see a project online, like I'm saying this over and over again because there's sometimes that I'm working on a new code base, but I've seen a previous repo that was actually worked on. All right, this previous repo was actually worked on, and I actually want to copy, like I want to use some of those logic. I want to say, okay, for example, I want to say, how do you go ahead to implement this UI that is really nice? Also, go ahead to, sorry, give me one sec. Yeah, hello. All right. So sorry guys, I'm back. So like as I was saying before, okay, very good. So if you see a report that you liked and you want to go ahead to reuse all of the logic that you add there, right? You want to reuse all of the logic that you add there and things of that nature, right? The best thing would be to have a memory about what that project is about. And this is where the usefulness of AI now comes in because once you have cloned that repository using GitHub, right? Because so obviously somebody has put those projects out there on GitHub. GitHub is a place where public code base are being stored, right? This is where collaboration comes in, right? You take that project from GitHub, try to clone it, and try to bring out all of the context from that project, and you can plug and play into another project that you're working on. So I can say, okay, for example, it has done the Claude.empty project, and it said it's organized so you can, so let me see if I'm recording. Yeah. So it's saying it's organized so you can lift it into another project and just swap the project specific bits, right? The when reusing the file as a template, right? Section at the bottom calls out exactly what to change, right? So this is very important. So when we're using this file as a template, the section at the bottom calls out exactly what to change, all right? And section covers the overview, the command. You said including the legacy peer devs. Gotcha. That means that it actually knows that it needs the exact version. All right. So the repository layouts and architecture, the conversions, how-to recipes, and the Site Fusion notes and gotchas, right? So if you go ahead to look at the Claude.md and we go ahead to preview this, so I'm going to just go ahead to reduce this for a minute. And you will see now that we now have the guidance, project overview, tech stack. All right, you can see the repository layout. Trust me, these are stuff that if you want to write this before back then, you would literally use hours to write all of this detailed readme. All right, so you can see I did all of this in minutes. All right, so go architecture, the entry flow, the global states, and all of those things of that nature, the routing. If you want to see, can you guys still see my screen just to confirm? If you can see my screen, just give a thumbs up. If not, just tell me no. Sorry? Okay, very good. I noticed it stopped sharing, so let me just go ahead to share back. Okay, should be able to see my screen right now. Very good, sweet. All right, so you can see everything right here. And if you also want to go ahead to check the GitHub history, you want to see, okay, when did this developer went ahead to work on this project? All you need to do is to go to GitHub and go to the insights. All right, go to the insights. And once you come to the insights, you would see something that is called contributors. This is where you will see the person that worked on this project. All right. So you see that the contributor to this project, just wait for it to load finish. Let's just wait for it to load finish. Just give it a minute. Also, I would like to show you guys about the network. So let's just open that in another tab. Network graph. Let me see if I'm connected. Yes, I am. Let's see. Let's see if network is not loading this up. Okay, while that is loading, we'll come back to the item. So you see adding new features, adding new reusable components, the site fusion route and all of that. So if you want to actually use this in your next project, all you need to do is just to copy the claude.md file, right? And you can go ahead to paste it in that new project. Also, in case you want to try to create a new project, you can just come here, right? And you try to say, okay, import an existing folder or new folder. Let me see, add folder to workspace, for example. So let's say I want to create a new folder and I will name it new admin page, right? So let's say I wanted to work on a new admin page, and obviously this new admin, so I have now admin dashboard. Or did I open? No, not this one. I was not supposed to open this one. Let me just go ahead to remove folder from this workspace. I wanted to add something else. Let me see. I wanted to add this new one. Okay, new admin page. All right. So you can see that this new admin page has nothing in it. So for example, if I want to do the setup, all right, I can just say, I can just go ahead to tell Claude that, okay, allow, I can just go ahead to tell Claude. So I have this new admin page I want to work on, right? I want to work on, can you help set up a project with the claude.md file provided in the admin dashboard project. All right. So I'm telling you how to work on. So I have a new admin page and I want to work on it. So can you hear me set it up and all of that? So Claude is going to be smart enough to just go ahead to pick out this claude.md file, right? And it's going to go ahead to help us to set it up in this new admin page. All right. So you can see it's going to ask us some few questions. So the new admin page inside the existing admin page and routing or new started project, stuff like that. Obviously, we'll say that we want to work with the new standalone project. We can just tell it we want to work on the new standalone project in the new dash admin dash page folder. All right, so let's see if this has load finished. This is actually taking a lot of time to load. Let's just go ahead. So I'll refresh this again. Let's see what's going on. I think might be my internet speed. See. So yes. So we're going to give it this thing, allow this patch command. So check website dir and look for new admin page folder. Yes, we're going to give it folder. So I'm going to give it access. So you can see found websites, new admin empty. So before I scaffold a couple of things, this and that. So I can just tell it, use the same stack as admin dashboard, right? One, use the same stack as the admin dashboard, right? So it already knows that in this claude.md file, it's going to go ahead to take all of the information right there, and it's going to try to help us to set up the basic project in what? In new admin dash page. And that's one of the usefulness of using AI, right? Especially if you want to work with a previous work that has been posted on GitHub before. And so you can see, copy the admin that get the new admin strip this. So yes, we'll say we'll just say B starts afresh with just the package.json, right? Because we actually want to reuse all of those libraries that we have right there. All right. So let's see if this is loading. I don't know why this is not coming up for some reason. Okay, let me try to see if I can change. I don't want to change my internet because of the stuff. But yeah, let me see what is going on. All right, so we have this loaded already. Let me go ahead and open this one again. So you can see that the history right here, contributors, right? Don't forget um we're still on Git and GitHub as a collaboration workflow, right? So you will see that you will see all of the collaborators that has worked on this project. For this one currently, you will see that I only worked on this project. I'm also going to show you an example of where multiple developers have worked on many projects. You will see the commit history and everything related to that. So the network graph, I don't know why this is not loading up. But let's go ahead to check it again from here. Or let's go ahead to look at the commits, right? Sorry, just my internet speed. Oh, it's actually fast, 48 MB per second. I don't really know what's going on right here. But yeah, since this is wasting time, let me just go ahead to show you some projects that was done. It's good now. Let's just wait. Let me try to pick up a project that you'll be able to see the. I want to actually show you something so you guys can know how you can actually connect with different to see how the Git and GitHub history has looks like actually. So let me see. So I think it's just the network graph that is not coming up because I have this project I worked on back then. Um, but yeah, if you guys can just go ahead to check out from your end, I'm also going to try to drop a screenshot later on. I remember I worked on an email drafting agent back then. I wrote a detailed documentation about this. Obviously, AI helped me to do that. So for those of you that usually build repositories and you don't add readmes, please and please, life is now easier. Just try to prompt an AI to go through your code base. So let's go ahead to accept this. So you can see that Claude is now telling us the steps that it's going to do. Create package.json, create configs, create project index.html manifest, create the context provider, create empty virus component page, adapt claude.md for the new project. And we can just go ahead to tell it to actually finish everything for us. And you can see that immediately it has started setting up the new admin page based off of the history, the memory history that we had from this admin dashboard itself. And that's one of the beauty of AI, right? So let me just go ahead to continue this. So if you want to actually check the history, let me just go ahead to check this particular repository, which had many contributors itself, right? So if you want to also check the insights, you can just go to insights and try to look at the commit history. All right. So you can just go ahead to, oh, my screen is actually frozen. Okay. Hang on, I was checking this actually. This is actually taking time to load, but you can actually go ahead to look at the commit graph, look at everything. You are going to see the history under this insights. All right. So you can see this is actually done that set up the SRC. We now have the component context and everything. So instead of you doing this manually, actually, you can just go ahead to use Claude and give it context. And based off of the Git history that the person has actually added to the repository, and everything that is now public for you, you can just go ahead to clone that and just try to work based off of that project. All right. So I'm going to cd the dots, which is go back a little bit, and I'm going to now cd to the new admin page. So I'm going to clear. I'm going to list what I have right there. Obviously, we have the Claude and everything right there. And let's just wait for Claude to finish working. All right. So it's done working already. And we can just say, so you can say this and that. So cd and do, we already changed our directory. So we need to npm I, PLKC deps, right? Gonna copy this. And after that, we'll just go ahead to do npm start, which we are going to be good to go. Let's go ahead to, I'm going to go ahead to close this. I don't need this anymore. And let me see if the network graph is actually, this is not coming up. I don't know why. But if you guys have some time, just go ahead to check through the code and just check through the network tab and you'll be good to go actually. All right, sweet. So let's see again. Is it done? Okay, it's loading. Let's just give it a few minutes. Oh, I see why now. It seems my okay. Just give me a few sec. Let's see. I'm gonna run npm I legacy PFFs, and let's see. We should have it fast. Let me see. Just give it a few minutes. Okay, I see. All right. So this is the network graph I was telling you about. So this one is the actual admin dashboard that we worked on, right? So you would see that the first commit I made right here was when this was when I initialized the React project, and this was September 3, right? 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see that each step of when I started using the file, of how the components, how I added the component structure, everything is actually being tracked in the network graph. All right. Till my final commit. So I actually worked on this project from September 3rd to around October 8th, which is around 1 month thereabouts. And you can see update how to clone the repository. This was when I was adding the README files and all of that. And you see all my changes right here, September 3rd, 2022. So Git and GitHub actually tracks everything that you have done. Git tracks it locally, while GitHub actually tracks it for you on the cloud base. All right. So once you can know that, you are actually going to be good to go. All right. So let's just wait for this. Let me just actually queue this. And I'm going to do npm I legacy peer tapes again. Hopefully it does not waste time. But yeah, like I said, so you would see that all your Git history is actually being tracked. Just make sure that you use your Git commands. Like Git messages is very important. Like people will tell you over and over again that um when you are trying to work on a project and you're pushing out your Git commit out there, make sure that whatever you're pushing out there, it has the right message, right? Let me just like stop sharing and let me share again. I notice it's not capturing it. All right, very good. So just make sure that you are using the right commit messages. If not, you will see that in this network tab, if I'm trying to say, okay, what did I commit on September? What did I commit on September 18? You can see add footer code. And if I click on it, you will see that it actually includes what? Just the footer code, right? So it's very important to also use the right messages when you are working with Git and GitHub itself in general. All right. So I hope you guys understood what Git and GitHub is. You got the idea about it. And let's just wait for, I think this is actually taking time, but obviously you already get the structure of how to like um take it from one code base, try to give it context, and you'll be good to go. But aside that, I think we have everything well structured. The context provider is well structured. Also the dummy JS, it just includes some links and all of that. So this is already installing actually. You see index.jsx. You can see some of these are already depreciated, but because we actually want to have the exact version of what we used in that project, that was why we included legacy-peer devs, and you will see that we have everything being installed. Even though some of this are actually not supported, that's why we're having some of this warning, because I did this obviously over 2 years ago, and things have actually changed since then. All right. Things have actually changed since then. So that's why you'll be getting this warning. Also, you will see that you're also going to get that warning if you try to install it without peer legacy dash peer devs. So that's why I'll advise that whenever you're working on a project, it's very advisable to always go through the README and try to understand what that particular project is talking about. If it's not included in the README, prompt AI to tell you about it. That is how you would actually use AI to work the smart way. All right. So obviously this is also going to get installed, but I don't want to waste much of our time. Um, yeah, I don't want to waste much of our time, but yeah, I hope you guys get the whole plot around Git and GitHub and collaboration workflow. Once you do, trust me, especially if you want to work on a new project and you have an idea or you have seen a project that you can actually use to work on, then you can just go ahead to take the context of that project, pass it into AI. Why did my screen stop sharing again? All right. Yeah, so you can just go ahead to take the context of that project, pass it into AI, and you would be good to go. Trust me. So again, if you have not followed me on GitHub, just try to follow me so I can. Let me see if we have any new followers so I can review the last one. Okay, we have one last person right here, which is Ifeanyi. So Ifeanyi also upcoming software developer. This is really nice. You can see I also mentioned that I'm pretty much sure that this is how most of you guys are going to have your GitHub README, right? And that's why you see that in the group right there. So this is done. I can just go ahead to say npm start. And in the group right there, you see that that was why I added it to the profile section, right? You see I added this right there. That you need to learn how to you need to be able to take your, okay, I think this is not showing up, but let's see what I can do. So just let me just actually open this for you guys. I'm going to put yes because no, I'm going to stop this first. I'm going to run this npm. I actually have issues because of the old versioning system itself, right? Let me just go ahead for this place. Um, so if you can go ahead to watch that video, that would really help. If I especially you and those people that also highlighted, just take note of that, and you see that that's why I said you need to learn how to take your GitHub profile from looking like this, right? Looking like this idea to what we have right there, right? It's you have to be more detailed in whatsoever you are doing, right? And for those that just try to add more detail with me, just watch the video, you'll be good to go. If I please, I really love that you actually attach your GitHub, your Gmail actually, and you talked about a little bit more about yourself. But just try to add it more detailed. You can actually go through my own with me, and it's so, trust me, it's open source. You can copy whatever you want to copy from there. You're actually free to do whatsoever, right? For those that want to actually watch the video, just go ahead to YouTube, go to playlist. Once you search for Tech with Dave Ward, go to playlist. You will see a playlist of Dev with Distance. And this playlist actually include all of the classes that we've gone through, right? You'll see our day one is actually right here, and you will see the day two is also there. And the next couple of hours, just 1 hour, because it takes some time to actually upload this high quality content to YouTube. So in the next 1 hour, I'm also going to share the link. Go ahead to drop a comment. Also, please, it really helps. Just drop a comment on what you learned in the class. For those that attended day one and day two, please go to the video and just drop what you learned, just drop a comment. It really helps. And yeah, trust me, you will be good to go. But aside that, I hope you guys understood what we did in today's class. If you do, kindly give a thumbs up. If you have any question, any contribution, okay, we have a question from someone. Oh, just thumbs up. Any question? Oh, blessing. Blessing, please go ahead with your question.
Okay. My question is very simple, although I know I'm going to rewatch the video, today's class. So I noticed you have various AI agents.
Very good.
So maybe I didn't see clearly. So I was wondering, how were you able to install it? Because the default AI agent for VS Code is Copilot. So I was wondering, how were you able to install so many agents on your VS Code?
Yes, like if you paid attention, I also shared with you that most of these agents that I have installed, I don't use all of them, right? Trust me, it was back then when those AI agents were trending. Like I remember I tried out trust me, I've tried out multiple agents, right? Just for context, I've tried out AMP, I've tried out Augment Code, I've tried out multiples of agents, right? And to install them is actually very simple. It's either you go to the browser, for example, from Augment Code, once you go to the browser, and you would see that you can just go ahead to install it and block and play to your VS Code. That's also straightforward. Also, same thing for sorry, let me know one sec. So same thing for Gemini and all of that. All you need to do is just to go ahead to your extension. I showed you earlier on. Go to extension and search for any AI agent tool that you are looking for, and you'll see everything right there. I'm also going to tell you guys how to install it in our next class. So make sure to also pay attention to that. All right.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
that's my question.
All right. Any other question again? All right. With that being said, since that will be all from you guys, the recording is going to be dropped on the group. Thank you for attending today's class, and I will see you in our next class, where we're going to dive into prompting and UI, which is going to be very, very interesting. And I'll see you all there. Bye, guys.